Good morning, Ms. Smith. Thank you so much for talking to me today. I would like to discuss the hardships and trouble you faced as a child working in a cotton mill.
Absolutely, I'm open to answering any and all of your questions. I think it's time to let the public know the details of the personal lives of child laborers in the cotton mills of North Carolina.
Great. When were you born and where are you from?
I was born in July of 1900. I grew up in Glencoe Mill Village in North Carolina. My family moved there from a nearby tenant farm 20 years before I was born.
Interesting. What was your house like?
Our one-story house had its own garden plot and had 3 rooms. The Mill Village owner, James Holt, even controlled electricity to the houses during certain hours in morning and evening.
What was the village like?
The town was small. Most everyone worked in the same mill. Everyone in the town tried to look out for each other because we were all so close. In order to encourage families to remain with the mill, the textile company provided a community. The mill company gave us recreational facilities to maintain an orderly community. These included 2 churches, a baseball field for the mill-sponsored team, and a school. The only real problem of the town was the fact that the mill owner had created a monopoly out of the town. He controlled everything.
What do you mean by he controlled everything?
Well, when my grandparents arrived in 1880, James Holt owned Glencoe Mill Village. He controlled education by requiring children to attend several months of school per year before they came to work at the mill. He owned and controlled the prices of the Glencoe Company store and the rent of our house. The hardest part was that he controlled the main source of income in the town, which was the mill.
Well, why didn't you move?
I mean, the town was our home. From ours and the working family's perspective, the community was a close-knit one, in which members often cared for one another like a family. Although our work days and weeks were long and hard, we found some ways to socialize and enjoy our lives outside of the mill. For example, some people went to church events, played baseball, and went fishing and hunting. My father loved taking my 2 little brothers down to the creek to fish.
That's nice. Could you tell us a little about your job?
The family labor system blurred the boundary between work and play for us children. Many children, like myself, learned about mill work from their older siblings and parents. Living in close proximity to the mill, I visited my family members at work or visited other children there to play. I soon made the transition from helping my family to taking on my own work at the age of 12. The available jobs I did get paid little and required more agility than skill. Many children worked as sweepers, the cleaners or spinners, people who spin the cotton into thread. I worked as a sweeper for most of my job, and I just cleaned around the factory area.
Were you bringing home income at all?
Yeah, I earned about 40 cents for one 11-hour day. I worked 6 days a week. This only amounted to $2.40 weekly, which is $7.35 today. Though $7 a week seems very minimal to people today, I later learned that a child's income sometimes makes a difference between poverty and survival. Therefore, having a child work was often a necessity for mill families.
Okay. What were the conditions like at the mill? Was it dangerous?
The dust inhaled from the machinery caused a fatal condition known as brown lung. Many people I knew developed brown lung, but I was lucky enough to avoid it. The dust was not the only problem. Many people's hands and fingers could easily be severed by the fast-moving machinery. My best friend was working on the mill one time, and she got her finger caught in there, and it moved so fast, it just took it off, and I watched the whole thing.
That's horrible. I'm sorry to hear that. You said earlier that your town was a united community. Did you band against your employers?
We didn't. We knew about the whole family forbade or union organization and kept a close eye on all of our activities to maintain a stable working situation for everyone. It pretty much made it impossible for us to rise against them. Besides, we were content with our lives together, even though the work was dangerous. We made more money in the mill factory than we would have made working on a farm.
Interesting. How many people were there in your family?
In the beginning, it was just me and my parents that worked because I'm the oldest. My 2 younger siblings were just too weak and young to work, and instead they went to school. When they returned home, they would scrub the floors, make the beds, and help cook supper. Many children that age were oblivious to the harsh realities of the adults because there was such a strong sense of community in Glencoe.
That's interesting. You said earlier that you only worked 6 days a week. What did you do on the 7th day?
Oh, well, on Sunday we were given the day off for church and leisure. There were 2 churches in the Glencoe Mill Village. My father told me that soon after the village was built, the big Methodist church was built. Soon after, the construction of the Baptist church took place on a big hill. The Methodist church was called the Union Church because all denominations were welcome. Sometimes we went over to my uncle's house to play with my cousins. My mother mostly brought goods from the Glencoe Company store on Sundays since she had spare time. The company store was the only real grocery store, and it provided us with all of our needs and necessities. What we did on Sundays really depended on what we needed to get done. But we always went to church.
Well, thank you very much for speaking with us. That pretty much wraps up all of our questions.
You're welcome
Thank you, Ms.
anytime.
Smith.
Welcome.